Welcome to Beyond the Closing Table with Setco Services. In this podcast, we delve into the world of real estate and explore what happens beyond the closing table. Join us for insightful discussions and expert interviews that will change the way you see real estate transactions. Welcome to Beyond the Closing Table. I'm George Brandon Jr., sponsored by Setco Services. Today we have Mr. Cory Fosdyck with Krueger, Fosdyck, Brown, McCall, powered by New Edge. Did I get that right, Fos?
You got it right. It's a mouthful.
Thank you for coming here, buddy. So we'll get to that, all that good stuff, but I want to learn about you for a minute. Where are you from there, Cory?
Grew up in Illinois, the central part. Most people think Chicago when I say that, but most of the state.
Not southern?
That's right. So actually we call it the Midwest, right near Hannibal, Missouri.
Really?
So,
okay.
Try to throw some Mark Twain quotes in here today.
Okay. Love it.
Yeah. But downstate, cornfields, soybeans. So much different childhood than growing up in Chicago.
Yeah. So you were kind of like in the farm country?
It was. Absolutely. Now,
okay.
There was a university in the town, Western Illinois University, where I ended up going to school.
Okay.
But it's very rural, town of 20,000, and 13 of them were the students. So that tells you. We didn't have
really?
Applebee's. Yeah.
So wait, all right, let's take a step back. Were your parents, y'all were farmers, were you?
No.
Okay.
My dad was a high school football and basketball coach.
Okay.
And teacher. And then my mom was an academic advisor at the university.
Okay.
So she helped kids come in as a freshman, figure out what classes they needed to take, identify the major, and then.
Both educators.
That's right.
Okay. So how was growing up? How was middle school? How was elementary school?
It was great. It was
Did your dad just throw you a basketball out to shoot?
Yeah, I spent a lot of time under the bleachers, when I was my kid's age.
Yeah.
Looking for money or gum somebody had dropped. And, I spent a lot of time in the gym growing up when my dad was coaching the high school team. And, I think that shaped me a lot, being around the older high school kids and players. They kind of looked after me a little bit too, so that was nice.
Nice.
Had a younger sister.
Okay.
She's 2.5 years younger, is married, and lives in Nashville with 3 girls, one of which is a cheerleader, as you know, at Ole Miss.
Hotty toddy, baby.
That's right.
Love it. So when did you start picking up basketball? Just since I know you played basketball.
Yeah.
A legendary middle school coach
My
today.
mom told me my first word was ball, so
okay.
I guess before I could walk.
Okay, fair enough. Did you only play basketball growing up?
I played football and baseball all the way through high school.
Okay.
But my grandfather played basketball in the Army and actually in college as well, but he only lasted a year in college.
What do you mean play basketball in the Army? Like
they have a team. Apparently, he was in the Korean War.
Okay.
And they pick guys, I guess the tall guys.
Okay.
And athletes. They pick guys to go and compete against other bases, is the way I understand it.
Okay.
Or maybe even other branches of the military.
Yeah.
And they still do that to this day. And so, he was on the Army basketball team over in Korea and Germany. And then he played at Western Illinois University. My dad actually went and played at Western. And then, so I was a third generation to play.
Really?
And become a leatherneck. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's the mascot?
That's the mascot. Yeah.
Leatherneck.
The
okay.
Leatherneck.
So but that was in your town, that university was?
Yes.
Okay.
So I was born in Macomb. My dad took a job in a town called Rochester. It was just outside of Springfield, the capital of Illinois. So I spent, 10 years there. And then the family business was a bowling alley. So my great-grandfather started a bowling alley.
Really?
Grandfather took it over once he aged out. And then when my grandfather got to be the right age, he was ready to hang it up. And my dad had to make a decision, take over the family business, move the family back to Macomb, and he did that.
Okay.
Got out of coaching for like 3 years.
All right. So your family ran a bowling alley.
That's right.
We've never been bowling together, have we?
No, we should.
Are you a pretty good bowler?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Not anymore, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. No, me too. I mean, he doesn't like throwing a ball at pins, but did you spend a lot of time at the bowling alley?
Spent a lot of time there. So it had a bar in it.
Okay.
And, my dad
Were you
had
at the bar most of the time?
I was in the pew. They had a couple of video games, Pole Position and Donkey Kong. So I spent a lot of time there.
Dating ourselves now, Donkey Kong.
But yeah, spent a lot of time in the bowling alley growing up. They had a baseball card shop my grandpa did in there. So looking
Really?
at baseball cards or playing.
Is the bowling alley still there?
It's still there.
Okay.
And
Is it still in the family?
no.
Okay.
No, my dad sold it when I was in 8th grade, which is kind of ironic because my oldest son is in 8th grade now. Regional championship game in Lewiston, Illinois. Came down to the wire. I made a shot at the buzzer to advance to sectionals, and my dad was back home working tenant bar.
Uh-huh.
He had to. He owned the business. And so he missed that moment, right?
Mhm.
And pretty much decided to find us a buyer a week later.
Okay.
So it's still called College City Bowl, but the guy who bought it, his name is Digger. So it's Digger's College City Bowl.
So Dad wanted to come watch you,
Mhm.
missed it, and decided he was out of the family business. Now you go back into coaching?
He did.
Okay.
Yep, got right back into coaching. And
Did he coach you?
He did. He had the opportunity to be the head coach. And one of my biggest regrets in life is that he came to me and said, hey, I've got an opportunity to be the head coach. And I was maybe a freshman or sophomore then. And I said, I don't want you to do it. I don't want people thinking that I'm playing because my dad's the coach. And so they hired another guy, but my dad ended up becoming like the freshman coach when I was a sophomore. And then he became the sophomore coach when I was a junior. And so he was on the staff, but not technically my head coach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you say you regret that decision?
I do. I think it was, a poor mindset, just a small mindset to be worried about what other people thought.
Yeah. I could see that.
But
I
at
could
that
see
age,
it though at that age. I
Sure.
mean, we both coach our kids. So
Yeah.
I can see that as they get older, they don't want the daddy being the coach, but I don't know. It seems to be almost more common these days,
Mhm.
even at higher levels.
Well, and now I'm doing it to my kids.
Yeah.
I'm coaching the middle school team for Destin.
Are you going to listen to him if he says he doesn't want to coach you in high school?
I am definitely not coaching high school.
Okay.
I will go on record that.
Hey, my dad said he coached me in Little League football. Says some of the best years of his life.
It is.
So, but I can also see, I could see where you were coming from too. And hey, that's a lot of respect for your dad to even ask you.
It is. Yeah.
You know,
I appreciate it.
Let a 14-year-old tell him he can't have the head coaching job.
Right. And it worked out great because he was still on the bench for varsity games and still at practice. So
Yeah,
I
you're
still
still
got
there
coached by
together.
him.
Yeah. He wasn't the head
And,
coach.
Yeah. I really appreciate that time together. And really that's why I pursued the middle school job because it's not like I don't have anything else to do.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure it pays very well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I did the math. I think it cost me $55,000 a year to coach that team.
Okay. Jesus. Do you have to teach?
No.
Okay. All right. I didn't know. So that's purely volunteer?
It's pure volunteer. Technically, I have to receive a stipend to be a county employee, but I put all that money and then some back into the program. So we got nice travel uniforms and all the things.
You going to buy him a bus next?
No.
Well, you could have your logo down the side of it.
Yeah. We need a helicopter to get to the Crestview games because, trying to get up to Crestview at 5 o'clock.
Oh, in the afternoon. That's brutal.
Yeah.
See, I go the other direction.
Yeah.
So I'm always going south.
Right.
And I just look at that traffic like, son of a
It's bad.
gun. All right. So back to you're in high school, success with basketball. You get picked up by the college, same town still? Or
Yes. So I was going to high school in the same town where the college was. And, I wanted to get out of town. I admit that. I didn't want to stay there. It's a small town. And I took a visit to Northern Illinois, to Southern Illinois, and Southern had offered me a scholarship. Northern did not. They offered me a preferred walk-on. And I just, again, maybe ego, I just wanted to have a full ride.
Okay.
And Western was a good fit. And so I did official visits and got to meet the players. Even in my own hometown, they came and picked me up like it was an official visit. Had just the best time ever. Really got along with the other guys on the team.
Yeah.
And
Did they take you out and woo you?
yes, yeah, yeah. That's not for this podcast, but
No. Okay. Fair enough. I'll stay away from that. I'll take a hint. Won't go down that rabbit hole. But okay. Clearly they wooed you well. You ended up there. That was where you got a full ride?
yes. And I decided I really wanted to sign in the early signing period, so I signed my letter of intent during football season. That way, I could play
Why?
my full senior year, not worrying about where I was going to go play, but just focus on the team. At least that was my mindset at the time.
Okay.
I wanted to be done with that, and there's.
Was that a good mindset in retrospect?
I think so because it got me there, and I'm so thankful that I went there, even though I didn't
Okay.
want to. best friends of my life. And,
you didn't want to go there, but you did.
yeah.
Okay.
And I'm thrilled that I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
All right. So you played college and then what? Success in basketball. Then where'd you go?
So I spent 5 years playing. After my first 6 games at Western, I decided to redshirt. The coaches were like, look, it's up to you, but you've played in the max amount of games, which was 6, in order to allow you by NCAA rules to redshirt. And I was 165 pounds at 6'2", playing Division I. That doesn't really cut it.
Yeah.
So needed an extra year to mature and hit the weight room. And so decided to redshirt. But I asked them, I said, can I still be allowed to practice? Which was yes. And I asked, can I be allowed to travel? And they said, well, typically that's not how it works, but they basically made an exception. So I was, on the team. I traveled with the team. I went to Vegas. I went to, all the road games and sat on the bench. I even dressed. I just wasn't allowed to go into the games. So that was a great experience for me, mentally and just getting the experience.
Yeah.
That helped me down the road.
So I never asked this, or just curious. So as a redshirt freshman, or to be a redshirt freshman, you have a certain number of games you can play, at least in basketball.
Right.
But you still do pretty much everything else.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
So all freshmen that redshirt typically still practice, right? And that's the whole point. Get better, get stronger. They, most of the time, in fact, redshirts after me, because I was there 5 years, we had a lot of them, they typically did not travel with the team.
Okay.
So I was very grateful for that.
Special.
I was very grateful for that opportunity because I just got to develop deeper relationships with the teammates and coaches. And then it didn't feel like I was a freshman when I got to play that next year.
I think that's cool. But you'll have more exposure, how it works, how things work, how your coaches operate, all that good stuff.
Right.
All right. So met some good friends in college. Feel like it was a success. What'd you do after that? Wait, was there any like big successes with the basketball team?
We had a couple of really good teams, and my first couple of years, my middle year or third year, we were just okay. My fourth year, we were really bad. And
okay,
that was a struggle. We only won 5 games that year, and it was a real struggle. We lost a couple key players during the year, injury, and one transferred back to California, our best player. So that was a good.
How many games were y'all playing at that time?
Probably level? 26.
Okay, good bit of games.
Yeah. And so senior year, had a lot of optimism with the guys that we had brought in, and we were, 500-ish. So we never made the NCAA tournament, which was the ultimate goal.
Sure.
And unfortunately, that's another regret, but had a great experience playing. And, I got to play at Illinois, which I grew up an Illinois fan, Fighting Illini fan, always wanted to play there. Just wasn't good enough. But I got to play there against them twice in my career and had a really good game there. My senior year, I had 17 points. They were ranked 6th in the country, and
no shit.
It was a fun experience.
Okay, cool. All right. So you, hung up your sneakers?
Hung up my sneakers. A lot of my teammates would go play overseas. They wanted to continue playing basketball. We didn't have
lucrative at the time?
It was lucrative for a college kid, but not what we would consider lucrative today.
It kept you in the game?
Yeah, it kept you in the game. It paid your bills, and you got to travel the world.
Yeah,
and so that was pretty attractive.
To go travel the world, I guess. If
Absolutely.
You got the time, if you want to do that.
Yeah. So I decided I didn't want to do that. I had graduated with my master's degree, so I actually played my 5th year while I was in grad school, which is pretty unique. It happens more now. Right, with all the COVID years and stuff, but that was pretty unique back then. The college professors had never seen that, and so they were less than thrilled to allow me to miss, a week of classes because I was going to be on a West Coast road trip, playing basketball. Didn't really work back then. So,
you did it.
We did it. Just had to work extra hard and study on the bus or the plane and.
Did they come? I guess they came around. Did your coaches help at all?
They did. They helped. And really it was just 2 professors. A few of the professors were supporters of the program.
Yeah.
And there was just a couple that said, hey, look, this is grad school. This isn't time to worry about extracurriculars. And so I had to work harder there.
It's not exactly an extracurricular. You're playing for the school team.
Right.
It's not like you're playing for the damn intramural sports.
That's right.
I mean, I guess I can see both sides of that coin. You are in grad school, but you're still, on the school basketball team.
That's right. Yeah. It was an unexcused absence.
Yeah. So. Okay. I just guess they're just not basketball fans.
Yeah. That was the issue.
So what'd you get your degree and master's in?
Marketing was undergrad, and then dual concentration, finance and marketing.
Okay. Cool.
So I had some relationships built. So thinking ahead post college, I wanted to get into pro basketball. I knew I did not want to be a coach because, I'd seen my dad coach, and I really didn't consider being a college coach back then. I just saw coaching as high school because that's what my dad did. So I wanted to be on the business side of basketball and developed a relationship. I knew I wanted to move south because I wanted to get out of the Illinois winters.
Okay. So it's a warm thing.
I knew I didn't want to be in Miami. So it kind of left, Charlotte or Atlanta or New Orleans. That's where the franchises were.
Sure as hell didn't leave here. So, but we'll get there.
So I kind of zeroed in on Atlanta. The coach of the Atlanta Hawks at the time was a guy by the name of Lon Krueger, and he coached at Illinois before he took the Hawks job.
Okay.
He also was the head coach
at Illinois.
At the University of Illinois.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, Fighting Illini. And my coach was his assistant at K-State. So there was some relationship, and basically picked his brain and said, hey, I want to get into the Hawks organization. He's like, well, I just coach. You need to really talk to the front office people, general manager. Pete Babcock was the general manager at the time, and I was able to cold call him, every Friday at 1:00 type of thing, never got through, and then finally came home from practice one day. My answering machine red light was blinking, pushed play, and it said, hey, this is Pete Babcock from the Atlanta Hawks. I don't know why you keep calling me, but here's my number. Call me back. And so I called him back, and he's like, why do you keep bugging me? And I was
really say it that way?
Yeah, absolutely. And I had sent him articles in the mail.
This is going to be a hard sell.
Yeah. I had sent him an article or a cutout from the Wall Street Journal and highlight, he had a quote in the Wall Street Journal. I happened to see it and mailed it to him. And I think that did it along with the voicemails. And so he says, why you keep calling me? And I said, look, I want to be you. And I don't want to take your job today, but I want to be you someday. And I was just hoping you'd mentor me and give me some advice. He's like, well, how come you don't want to coach? And I said, look, with the same thing I just told you. I don't want to be a coach. I want to be the business side of basketball. He's like, all right, well, we've got one position open in the front office. It's basically the t-shirt gun guy, right? You're on the court. He goes, you'd be perfect for it. You got a marketing degree and you're
literally,
yeah,
the t-shirt gun guy.
Yeah, on court promotions, right? Not just the t-shirt gun, but that would be one of them.
Okay,
I had done an internship with the pro baseball team, and had set up the sumo suits where they wrestle on home plate. And so I had experience there on my resume.
Whoa, back up. You did what? How do I know all this? See, this is why I love doing this shit.
That's right.
I've known this guy since you've been here.
Yeah.
So anyway, you did what with sumo suits in baseball?
Sophomore year of college, I got an internship in Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Okay.
Which is an independent pro baseball team, independent league. They had just built a new stadium. In fact, first day on the job, the GM comes to me and he's like, I know you're the marketing intern, but I need you to build a putt-putt golf course along the left foul pole. I was like, okay, all right. So I went to all the golf courses in town. I got their scorecards, and I asked the pro at each golf course, like, what's your most famous, your signature hole? Circled that on the thing, and let's say I think there's 7 golf courses. And literally and we made a putt-putt course that replicated all the golf courses in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And had to form the concrete, had to buy the green turf, and the hardest part was developing how do we get the balls back? Because, it's just little kids putting out there, and they're going to throw them or take them.
So is this movable?
No, it is concrete. And
where is it?
On the outside of the dugout, basically to the left of third baseline. On the outside
But in the field?
Not in the field. Not in the field, but in the stadium. So it was an actual stadium.
Yeah, okay.
And they just had this grassy area out there where, where in a real...
on the other side of the fence of the wall of the dugout,
right.
But it was like a grass area. Okay, all right, I'm following you now.
So right behind the third base dugout. And so I built 8 or 9 holes, and...
What were you worried about the balls?
Getting them back. And so I developed this thing where on the last hole, they'd put it, and like you see at any putt course, it goes into some box that we had a padlock on it.
Yeah.
And so I was all proud of that. We're not going to lose the balls, probably lose a few clubs, but it was a success. So opening day comes, and one of the assistants in the front office was out there smoking next to the shed, and they had just put down brand new pine straw. Flicks his cigarette, walks back in, the whole place burns down, burns the golf course, melts all the green turf. Of course, the cement was still there, but burnt the shed down.
Like the stadium?
No, the stadium was okay because it was all concrete.
Okay.
But burnt the shed and really did a number on
just burn up your golf course you just built. Damn.
So, I think we had like maybe 1 or 2 games opening day and maybe the next day that people actually got to use it. I'm curious if it's actually still there. I have to go and check online.
It's molded and everything. I don't know
if they repaired it or what.
Yeah.
They didn't repair it while I was there for the summer.
Okay.
So I was on
sucks.
court. I was the marketing intern, and I was on field. I guess not on court. I was the on-field promotions coordinator. They had an MC, and I would throw T-shirts. But we had one at the 7th inning. We'd have these sumo suits, and we identify somebody in the crowd. They'd come down, put on the sumo suits right before the 3rd out, and we'd talk them up. Hey, we're going to run out here. You literally have 30 seconds to fight, and then as soon as I give you the signal, you got to get out of there because we cannot disrupt the game. All right. I mean, this isn't Little League. This is pro baseball.
Yeah.
So, okay. So husband and wife, and they do their thing, not much action. And then the husband's running off or kind of trotting off in a big old sumo suit. The wife comes up behind him and just tries to hit him late. She's been drinking all game and broke her neck. And so I got sued for that because the whole organization did, and I was named in that suit.
Well, how old were you at this point?
20 years old.
They named you in the lawsuit?
Yeah, they named everybody in the organization.
Oh,
but
my God.
I had to testify or whatever you call it, give a deposition.
Did they have waivers? I would think.
Yeah, they lost because I told the truth that, hey, I gave them instructions. As soon as I give the signal, don't stop fighting.
Yeah.
And get out of there.
Yeah.
And, I think the fact that she had been admittedly, drinking pretty heavy, and she knew she was wrong, but she also had some damage to her neck.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, interesting.
It was very interesting.
How did you get this job? Or where, like, I know there was sports interest, but
yeah,
was that why how'd you get the job?
I knew that I wanted to be in pro sports,
Okay.
since my freshman year of college. And so I'd always had that vision. And the former president of Western Illinois University, his son was with this organization. And so there's a relationship, like everything in life.
Connection.
And somehow, I knew that they were looking for a marketing intern. And I was like, I'd love to get out of Macomb for 3 months and come do it.
Was this kind of a Savannah banana style deal?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Before as big as it is now, I'm guessing.
So the St. Paul Saints was their biggest competition of the Sioux Falls Canaries. And the St. Paul Saints was the famous team before, 20 years before the Canaries came along.
Okay.
And they were managed by a guy by the name of Bill Beck, who ran the White Sox back in the day and had little people, and 5-cent beer type of promotions, and they got in a lot of trouble at the pro level, MLB level. But yeah, he ran those two organizations just like the Canaries do today, but not as intense as they do it today.
Yeah, that whole Savannah banana and the whatever the other team is, the firemen or whatever.
Yeah,
I think the old tour this summer.
It's crazy. It's like Taylor Swift to get tickets too.
Yeah, I've heard, but they keep them at the same price.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've heard the normal ticket price is only like $40 or something.
Okay,
it's very reasonable. But the resale, it's I think it's a lotto to get them maybe type deal.
Yeah,
but the
secondary market is pretty
because
sporty.
They're packing out full MLB stadiums,
sold out everywhere.
My girls even asked about it. I'm like, how do you even know about this? Like, Dad. All right, sorry, I got a rabbit hole this internship that I didn't know about. Yeah. All right, so back to you're trying to get in with the Hawks.
The Hawks,
right?
That's right. So, I've got my master's degree. I did my grad thesis on pro basketball, naming rights actually for stadiums. And I know the coach, I know the GM. My coach had made some calls and recommendations. So got down to the third interview, and the lady's like, look, you're way overqualified for this, but we want to offer you the job. I'm like, excellent. So $6,600 a year. I'm like, I'll take it. Just get my foot in the door. That's all I want. Just get my foot in the door. I was like, I'll bartend at night, whatever. Right. I mean, I'm 20.
What year was this?
This is 2002.
Okay.
And I'm 23.
$6,600 a year.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I had maybe $800 to my name.
Okay.
So I booked or reserved an apartment in Buckhead, and it was $500 deposit. So over half my net worth goes to that deposit. Pack up my car. I'm driving.
How much
down.
was the rent?
I don't recall.
Was it like first month's rent? Let's say $500.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to have to bartend or do something.
Yeah, I was going to say, sounds like you got 6 months of,
right.
12 months of rent, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all you can eat is Campbell's soup.
That's right. So I'm driving down, one of those, you can't see out your back windshield because everything you own is in the car.
Uh-huh.
Pillows are stuffed in the back. And
but this is your dream.
It's my dream. I'm going to do it.
All right.
I'm going to go work for the Atlanta Hawks. I'm going to get my foot in the door. I'm going to shoot the cannon better than anybody's ever shot it. And I'm going to work my way up in the front office.
Awesome.
And so I get a call, and the lady's like, I'm sorry, Mr. Fosdyck, but we've got to renege on the job offer that we gave you. I'm like, what? Who's more qualified to shoot a T-shirt gun than me, right? And she's like, I'm so sorry. It's not that. Our sales team did an excellent job this week, and they sold a seasoned skybox to this big owner of a construction company, but his one stipulation was that his daughter get that opening.
Ooh.
So we had to give it to her. So I just kept driving. That's how I ended up in Destin. I was homeless. And
so you're literally in the car when you get
yeah.
this. No. Yeah. Damn, dude. All right. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So that was, again. All right,
so where'd you go?
Here. Came to Destin.
How'd you even know this place existed?
Vacationed here as a kid growing up. My parents
Really?
had a camper, and camping on the Gulf was where we would always go. On the beach,
Really?
$14 a night, beachfront, and we had one of those little crank-up Jayco pop-up campers, me and my sister, my mom and dad, and it was great. I just had fond memories, salt air, fell in love with the sunshine, and I was like, man, I'm just going to go down there. I'm going to spend 3 days there and just collect my thoughts and figure out next steps. And
Did you get your $500 deposit back?
Nope, never got it.
Really?
Never got it.
So you had $300 when you rolled into town.
$12, and my parents had bought a house here in Sunsail.
Oh, okay.
So that was the other reason is, I knew I had a place to sleep.
Yeah.
So I called them and I said, hey, look, this fell through. Is there any way I can stay at your house? They were still living in Illinois and planning to for a while till my sister graduated college. She's a couple years behind me. And they're like, yeah, of course. You can stay there as long as you need. I'm like, I'm only going to be here 3 days, and I'm going to get to Tampa or to Atlanta and find something else. They're like, okay. So on day 3, I was sunburned and bored, and I throw on a suit, and I go to Copy Systems in Walmart and print my resume with one of those old floppy disks.
Uh-huh.
And printed like...
Were you kind of, I don't mean to interrupt, were you kind of disappointed at this point?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Totally dejected, right? And that's kind of back to that junior year of basketball with the losing, adversity and how to handle that.
Uh-huh.
I think that prepared me for that moment in my life.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying I didn't go drink on the beach for a couple of days.
Yeah. You're 23.
Yeah.
You've sowed your sorrow, but it's still, I'm not going to harp on it, but you were overqualified for a job that somebody else got because of connection.
Relationship.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. Another good life lesson. They don't teach you that in undergrad or grad school, right? That they say it, but you don't really, at least I didn't. It didn't sink in for me.
Till it happens to you.
Till it actually happens to you.
All right. So you're drunk on the beach.
I'm like, man, I got to
go
get some money.
Yeah.
And so I printed my resumes at Copy Systems inside Walmart, and I started at SunTrust, and then I went to Morgan Stanley and Prudential at the time, which became Wells Fargo, or Wachovia, then Wells Fargo. Just Charles Schwab, went down the list, phone book, what financial advisory or investment or banks are in town. Stopped at all of them.
You were calling not just bank, you were specifically calling investment banks.
Investment firms and a couple banks right there in by the Mid-Bay Bridge. It
Okay.
was SunTrust at the time, or it was Sun something.
Anyway,
Anyways,
SunTrust.
was it? Okay.
I think
And
there were a bunch of them.
there were a
at
bunch
that
of
time.
them. Yeah, pre-2006.
Did you do that because of your degree? Was that what your mindset was?
Yeah, I think my backup plan, if pro sports wasn't it, my backup plan was finance.
Okay, got it.
And I didn't know what investing was really. I thought I
Yeah,
did.
because I'm sure that you learned a lot about that in undergrad.
Right. We had, one mock and trade or something.
Yeah.
And so went around, handed in my resume, and this is August of 2002. So right at the tail end of the tech bubble. So hiring freeze across the board in the financial services industry. One of the banks, whichever that Sun bank was, they offered me a job as a teller. And then the best part of the story is I saved PaineWebber for last, which was right in front entrance of Kelly Plantation. I went to all the other ones first, dropped off my resumes. They all rejected me and said, we're not hiring young people, fresh out of college. Don't you know it's a recession, all that stuff. And so
Positive can-do attitude responses.
Right,
Right?
So I say PaineWebber for last simply because it had the coolest looking building. It just had an awesome looking building. It was lit
Seems
up at
logical.
night and, yeah.
Where was it?
Right at the front entrance to Kelly Plantation. It was a new building back then. So this is 02.
It's still there?
It's still there. Raymond James is in it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Got it. All right.
Yeah. And Joom owns it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I pull into the parking lot. I've got my suit on that I got at the outlet mall, and I got one resume left, and I'm going to walk in there, and it just hit me. I'm like, man, I can't do this. It's 2:30. I've been rejected 10 or 11 times already today. I'm just going to go back to the beach. And so I got back in my car, actually put the car in reverse. And then, the other side of the shoulder is like, man, you're here. Just drop it off. What can hurt? So I put it back in park, go up the elevator and hand my resume to a gal by the name of Julia Kearns. And she's like, just a moment. And so she went and handed it to Tim Krueger. And that's how I met Tim and Julia and worked with both of them for the last, 23. Julia's actually retired now, but, we've been partners for the last 23 years.
But an amazing story. I knew sort of that part. I didn't know the 10 other visits you made before that one.
Yeah.
What did Tim have an opening? Did he just...
He basically said, I've been looking
I see something in this guy or what?
Yeah. He said, I've been looking for a junior partner. But he
made you a partner the day you walked in the door?
Not a partner.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely not a partner day one, but he's been looking for a junior gopher. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he had another guy by the name of Calvin that had been with him for 4 or 5 years, and they were growing. They were successful, and Tim was the largest producer in town. And so he said, I want to hire you into our training program, and you can either go at it on your own or you can join my team. And, being a team sport guy, I was like, yeah, why not learn?
So when you say go at it on your own, this is PaineWebber at the time, right?
That's right.
Under their umbrella as a financial advisor.
All on my own, where
Okay.
I'm just trying to go out and learn the business and get clients solo, which
Okay.
is about a 90% failure rate.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so, yeah, I accepted the position and accepted the role on his team as the junior gopher. And it was great. Learned a lot the first couple of years. My first job was reorganizing his file cabinet in Tim's office. He's like, I want you to go through there and throw out any stuff that we don't need anymore. I'm like, well, I don't know what you need and what you don't need. And so I started with the A's, and I got to Abbott and then Abshire, and I'm going through it, and I'm looking through it, and I really got to learn a lot about the client from just going through their files. I know that this guy likes to buy ExxonMobil. I know that this particular gal only buys mutual funds, because I could see their ticket. Back then it was paper tickets.
Yeah.
You actually wrote them and handed them to the cage instead on the computer.
The cage. Abby doesn't even know that point of reference.
So, but again, mentality wise, I'm like, man, I've got, a master's degree, and I'm sitting here pulling trade tickets out of a folder. But on the flip side, I learned so much from that experience, and it helped me down the road, because when Mr. Barry would call, I'm like, oh, I know he likes to trade Chevron.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really, you can learn. My point of that is you can learn from any activity, no matter, how you think it's beneath you, always. And I tell that to all of our folks that we hire. There's value in any activity.
Yeah.
If you have the right perspective on it.
There's also something we met somewhere in there, and you drug me to Toastmasters.
That's right.
And I attribute that to my ability to speak in front of people today.
Yeah.
And I'm still not perfect.
Podcast.
Huh? I'm still, it's always a work in progress and always learning, but Cory actually asked me, he didn't drag me. He asked me at the time we were both single and whatever, and goofing around in Destin. And, I went to Toastmasters, learned how to talk in front of people.
And then, forced you to be the first chairman of Excel.
Yeah. Well, you asked me to do that too, dude. Right. Not that part, but be part of that original founder, which I've had a great compliment. So, all right, to that point, you start growing in your business. I'd been here. We meet somewhere along the way, but that's not what this is about. Where did you start seeing success, and what other avenues were you looking at? Like, I brought the Toastmasters thing because I always feel like you're always educating yourself somehow, some way. Yeah. You just said it, and you tell the young people coming in, but that's what you need to do. Where did you start seeing success, or how did your business evolve, if you will? Because there's definitely some bumps in the road. A lot of bumps. Shortly after, there was another recession.
Yeah, big one. So from 02 to 04. Actually, from 02 to 06, for those 4 years, I really tried to plug into the community. I joined the chamber, Walton Chamber, and went through their leadership. We got involved together with the Destin Chamber on the Emerging Leaders organization. And then Toastmasters came along, served as president of that for 7 years. That really helped polish my
You stayed in that long?
7 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, that's pretty.
Yeah.
Well, what was keeping you at Toastmasters? I'm just curious.
I knew I needed to get better
at
it, honestly. I really do. And I still need to get better at it. But.
Well, we are both, hey, look, if you can't sit here and say I need to improve at something, then whatever.
Right.
Go right off into the sunset. But I feel like that's where people get, when you get stagnant or comfortable, whatever you want to call it, you're not trying to further yourself somehow, some way. It doesn't always have to be in business, but I just think that it keeps your mind sharp, keeps you going. So I didn't know you stayed 7 years.
7 years.
Well, thank you for involving me in that. So, all right, 06, you're doing all kinds of community stuff, or up until then. And then you get married at some point during there?
Get married in 06, and we left PaineWebber in 06. So Merrill Lynch came knocking, and they did not have an office in Destin. They had one in Fort Walton, had been there forever, and one in Panama City. The firm recognized that there was a lot of growth in the Destin and 30A area and wanted to have a shingle there. So they made us an offer that we couldn't refuse, frankly, and we ceded that office in 06.
What is, when you say that in that industry, I'm not as familiar when someone comes along, and I know you just recently had a change. Before we started talking, you shared one reason because and everything in your world, I guess, has something to do with finance. So it has something to do with money, but that's not, you and I have both done enough of this stuff where that's not typically a driver of someone's job.
Right.
Now, you're an owner of your business, but you still work for a brokerage house or whatever you want to call it. What is a driver? How did you and Tim come to that decision? Or were you part of that decision at that point?
Yeah, absolutely. The decision to leave PaineWebber, which had become UBS by then.
Oh, that's right. You were UA.
Mainly because of UBS. So the Swiss Bank came in, bought PaineWebber, which is an incredible old Wall Street firm with a great name. They got rid of the name PaineWebber, and then they started to manage it like a bank instead of a brokerage house. It was, you got to run this through the attorney instead of thinking like an entrepreneur and a business owner. So the culture changed when UBS took over.
So it wasn't totally financial.
It definitely wasn't financial.
Okay.
It was a big financial risk, honestly, just like our most recent one.
Yeah.
And, when I would go to the UBS, by then I had started to get to club level, President's Club, and I would go on these trips at the UBS, and they'd put up a big slide in the ballroom, and it would say, "We have got to number 3 in the nation as far as broker," and it was always UBS, and then Morgan Stanley, and then Merrill Lynch was always number 1. And I'm just not a number 3 guy.
Yeah.
It just doesn't sit.
I like that.
I don't cheer for third place.
Yeah.
Bronze doesn't get me excited.
You ain't first, you're last.
That's right. So that kind of opened our ears, and Merrill was, very aggressive in getting a presence in Destin, and, allowed us to pick out where our office would be there in the old Cruise building, Craig Cruise.
Oh yeah. No, I remember that building distinctly when he was up there. God rest his soul,
Right.
the top floor. Very unique, eccentric, and artistic, if you will.
Yeah.
But go back to the change. And again, just curious for people listening, what are some of the financial incentives? I know it's a financial risk, and
Right.
correct me if I'm wrong. That's it. Your risk is if your clientele can come with you or will come with you. Are there any factors that Merrill Lynch brought to the table that gave you an edge or financially? I mean, is there anything that goes with that decision?
Yes. The biggest thing was that they gave us the pick of the office, and we wanted a presence right there in central Destin. And Merrill's technology was at least 10 years ahead of UBS's at the time.
Okay.
And what used to take, if I was getting ready for a client review, doing a quarterly review with the client, they come in, they sit down, we review their performance, we talk about the outlook of the markets and any change we need to make. It would take me an hour of prep work to get ready for one meeting. At Merrill, it was a push of a button. It was done in 3 seconds. And so you just think about the productivity gain of just moving firms. So that was really attractive. They also gave us an expense account that would help with marketing and bringing over our clients from UBS to Merrill. And that was supposedly a perpetual deal. And again, one of the reasons we decided to leave is that ended up going away last year.
Hold on, don't jump ahead. I want to hear about that. But so there's some technology advances, not necessarily like they're not giving you a better percentage.
No.
Does it work that way?
Yeah, the percentages that if I make $1, at Merrill you keep 43 cents, and it was basically the same at UBS.
Okay, got it. All right.
But they did give you transition assistance money, so if you needed that to live off of, you really didn't have anything left over at the end of a year because you're not getting paid while you're trying to move people over. They're not there yet.
Yeah.
Got it. But they gave you a check up front, but it's not like you're expanding your net worth. You're just using that to live off of until clients move over and start producing revenue.
All right. So then, just knowing the timeline, don't let me tell the story, Cory, but we had like a little market crash here about that same time. Really, I guess I would say it started Katrina, and then it trickled into 2006 for here before the rest of the country realized there was a problem.
Right.
That's the way I felt. Maybe that's because I was here.
You felt it in a different way because of, your industry. But we opened the Merrill office on Veterans Day of 2006, so November. And, the stock market really peaked in March of 2008.
2008, yeah.
And started to go down from there with Bear Stearns. So we were not there long before things really took a turn.
So how'd you guys navigate that?
It was extremely challenging up until the last 8 months. It was the most challenging time of my life. And so it was tough because, people were afraid and we thought we were going into a Great Depression again.
Yeah.
Right? And the stock market had declined by roughly 50%, depending on which indice you look at. And losing people's money is, health, a person's health is the most important thing, but money is pretty close to oxygen when it comes to preserving your lifestyle. So
got it. So, but you navigated through.
Yeah, we got through it and we're better for it on the back end and really grew our practice after that.
Is there any, through that time that you can think of, like lessons learned in your mind of going through that?
Yeah, it's more about behavioral intervention, which is a investor psychology type of term. I really got passionate about studying investor psychology because people will tell you, oh, I can handle the market's ups and downs. Yeah, pretty much everybody says that. And then when it happens, minds are lost.
Proof's in the pudding.
Yeah. And people, understandably so, right? You work your whole life. You don't want to have to go back to work or you can't go back to work. And money is emotion. And so trying to mitigate that in advance, because it's going to happen again. We know that the market's going cycle, whether it's real estate or oil and gas or the stock market. We know that there's peaks and troughs. And so trying to have those conversations in advance to protect people from themselves is what I really learned in the Great Recession.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah.
So you, if I heard you right, you educated yourself on almost the interaction with your clients and how to stay positive and keep them in the game, if you will.
Keep them in the game, and how to construct their portfolio. So somebody might come in and say, everything's going great. Put all my money into NVIDIA or into Microsoft or whatever's working that day.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people that, if we were at Disney and we were going to ride the roller coaster and you're a risk taker, you could ride it 100 times and never get ill or nauseous.
Mm-hmm.
But if I ride it twice, I'm going to throw up. Okay. So we're two different people. We're going to buy you an unlimited pass. We're only going to buy me one ticket, right? Because if I ride it again, I'm throwing up.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've got to determine, and people don't necessarily know that about themselves, I've got to help people determine how many rides on how many times can you go on it without getting nauseous.
Got it.
And that's what I've got to, that's behavioral intervention or investor psychology.
That's a good assembly.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So moving along, we come out of the, what do they call it? The Great Recession. I guess sort of 9, 10-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Well, this probably the oil spill really didn't affect you that much, did it?
No, but it was, it was piling on to people that were already emotionally damaged from the real estate. Because, so much of the net worth around here is tied to real estate.
Sure.
And so that was, people were scared that we're going to have to move out of this area.
Is your clientele still pretty much local?
I would say 60%.
Okay.
We got a big faction in Texas, and then people have moved and we've gotten referrals. And so we're California, Illinois, Iowa, Nevada.
Oh, God. California? Really?
Yeah. I don't have anybody in Hawaii. We've got a client in Alaska. I don't know why I didn't switch those, but.
Oh, I see. For your visits.
Yeah.
I got you. Well, I guess if you have to go to your clients in California and they happen to be somewhere near Napa, that won't be horrible.
That's nice.
Now I was curious I know it affected our area greatly, but probably what you learned, the psychology of people and how to work with them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean that in our industry, we can make money one way or another, whether the market's going up or down, recovering or crashing. It's never fun,
right?
But you can still make some money.
Yeah, you can survive.
I didn't have to, people told me what they lost at that point and how much of an ass kicking they're taking by selling this house or short selling it or whatever. But you can still make money. But when you have like an oil spill, it goes stagnant,
right?
And that's where we get crushed,
right?
I do think it had an effect for a period of time, and I almost feel like that's where I started, or maybe I was early on, but losing faith, and not to go down this rabbit hole too much, but in the media, because I saw what was going on here on the ground, and you saw what was on all of them, right, left, whichever network, it was doom and gloom, and we're all going to die from an oil bloom that's going to kill us from the Gulf,
right? Which
was total horseshit,
right?
And I had friends that have vacationed here, like your family, for years, and they were like, "We can't come this year."
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is wrong with you people? It's like nothing here.
Yeah, and seen a towboat on the beach.
We didn't. We came out of that, fairly unscathed by comparison. But like you, or your last 8 months or whatever time period, it was not fun going through it.
Not fun. How did that prepare you, or compare to the first few months of COVID for you guys when everything shut down?
I would say the worry with COVID initially was worse, but the oil spill lasted longer. It felt like, because for me, or for us, let's say our company at the time, we had employees, very proudly, we never laid anybody off. But you hear of, whatever industry, you had a bartender that goes down to the oil spill office, quote unquote, get $70,000.
Right.
And then we had to fight for it, kept everybody on, took out loans, sustained, and we got paid, but then we had to give up, 25% of it to attorneys.
Right.
And didn't get paid until 2012.
Is that right?
So, but we were cool by then. We had
Yeah.
dug ourselves out of the hole.
Right.
But
Huh.
yeah, we didn't get it was a big check,
Yeah.
but it was like, oh, cool.
Hmm.
It was like a payday, like a lotto almost.
Right.
At that point, we
At
had
that point
survived
in
it.
12. Yeah.
But no, I mean, the mental effect, it sucked.
Mm-hmm.
And, there was also, it affects you as an owner, as you know, but also your people are going through personal challenges because they can't pay certain bills or what have you.
Yeah.
COVID, since you asked, my simile is March 15th. I have a much bigger company at this point.
Yeah.
I felt like I was staring down the barrel of a double barrel shotgun in my face.
Mm-hmm.
And by April 15th, I was chasing myself because it went boop and then took off like a rocket ship. And, within 3 weeks, I joke, this, we would put a huge dent in my wine cellar.
Yeah.
We figured out very quickly that we are not homeschool parents. and then, I was so busy within a month and a half that, it didn't have the long-term effect.
Yeah.
Now we had different challenges.
Sure.
Like you guys did. For a minute there, we had to wear a mask in Florida and still be conscious of your employees and all that good stuff. But all of it ended up being, a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
But so I've thought about that a lot. The oil spill is really where I started to doubt people's, you used to go, and I guess it's probably more our parents' generation, but you had the 3 news networks, and that's where you went to go get your news, and you believed what they said. And
it was trustworthy.
Yeah, exactly. Now, history would tell us, starting probably with the Vietnam War or even before that, not exactly what everybody thought.
Yeah.
But for me, that's where I really started questioning what I'm doing, trying to go figure out myself. So, but it's different, but I sure had an impact on you, whether it's you're having to talk to your clients about their situation through an oil spill or what have you, and coach them on what to do financially.
Right.
And I'm sure COVID, I don't know, COVID, I think in your world did okay.
It was the same timeline,
Yeah.
right? So that 30 days where the market cratered and then the fear wore off and then it rebounded dramatically.
Yeah, you think?
So
It's still, I guess, very strong, but I don't want to skip a time period in there. So we had some decent growth between, let's say, the oil spill and then COVID. How was y'all's business at that time? I mean, it's kind of.
Yeah. So call it the decade between 2010 and 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much with the timeline.
Yeah. That was a great period of time. And Bank of America bought Merrill Lynch in 2008 at the depths of the Great Recession. But
was that a bailout?
Yes, essentially.
Okay.
And so the government had tried to shotgun marriage Bank of America with Lehman Brothers. Bank of America did not want Lehman Brothers. They allowed Lehman Brothers to go, and they said, we'll take Merrill instead. And if you watch some of the, the movies from that time, it gets into the detail. It's pretty fascinating and really just some personalities that didn't necessarily mesh between Lehman and Bank of America.
Yeah, I see it. Well, I guess a Big Short would be one of the big ones, but it was basically a few people just said, no, you're going to die and we're going to save this one.
Die. Yeah. And we're going to
crazy,
save
huh?
Merrill. And so, everybody at Merrill at the time's concern back in 2008 was, now we're owned by a bank, and I'd already lived this. UBS comes in, buys PaineWebber. But to be honest, Bank of America pretty much left the culture and left the firm alone for 14 years. So from 2008 to 2012 or 14, till 2022, pardon me, it was pretty much business as usual for Merrill.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. And there were some little things that changed, but all firms evolve over that time. So, and to answer your question, 2010 to 2020 was tremendous years in the market and growth for our practice. And awesome. I was hitting the age, right, of being able to go after higher net worth people. I wasn't 23 anymore or 27 anymore.
A little more respect.
Yeah.
Right. Did having someone like a Tim, I know he's a good mentor, but clearly, to come in for that maybe more mature investor help. Absolutely. Y'all tag team stuff at times?
Absolutely. So my first, 8 years in the business, my goal was not to try to, get somebody in on my own, but it was more to bring them in and introduce them to Tim, so that, because nobody wants to give their money to a 23-year-old that it hasn't learned anything yet. You want some gray hair, and same with the doctor, right?
Or in Tim's case, no hair.
Well, he's got a little gray on his mustache, goatee.
He'll appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. So, but you're married, you start having kids, personal growth, things are going well. When did you adopt your first kid?
Monroe was adopted from birth. That was 2016.
I said, let me correct that. You had two before that.
We had, we had one.
One.
Just Nash, our oldest.
Right.
And we had a few miscarriages. And when Hillary and I got together, before we were married, we had that discussion about getting engaged. And conversation came up, how many kids do you want, right? And I said, I want 2 or 3. And she says, I want 2 or 3, but I'd really like to have 2 biological and adopt one, because she had an adopted brother from Korea growing up. So that was familiar to her. It was not familiar to me, but I said, that sounds great. I love helping people, and that sounds interesting. So in our prenuptial agreement, we decided that would be our plan. Get pregnant right away with Nash, no issues, have a couple miscarriages, and CAC, we were real involved with the CAC at the time. We decided to pursue adoption. That was a private adoption.
You started with a CAC? What, or inquiring about it?
Involved with it. Well,
no. I knew you were involved with it, but that's where you didn't go through them.
Correct.
Okay.
But they kind of advise, Julie and some of the people there advise us, here are this is how you can do it.
Got it.
You can either do a public adoption, which means you take somebody out of foster care, or you can do a private adoption where you go through an attorney and deal with them directly.
Do you mind me asking, why did you go the private route?
I think it was safer at that time, right? Obviously, we've done both now.
Yeah.
And so, we decided, and so we had some friends that had already done it. And they gave us the referral to the attorney over in Shalimar, met with them. And it was funny. We went in and they said, well, what do you want to exclude? Do you want to exclude people with red hair? Do you want to exclude females or males, race or this or handicaps, disabilities? We said, nope, we don't care. And they're like, really? You don't have anything? I said, no, we don't want to restrict. Whatever we're supposed to have, we'll take. And I said, I got to ask, so what do most people say? Because you're so shocked by our answer. He's like, everybody wants a white newborn female. I'm like, great. We don't need that. We'll take whatever. Sure enough, that's what we got. White newborn female. So, I still wonder to this day why, that didn't go to somebody that wanted that.
Yeah.
Or requested that. But I'm thankful that they didn't, because that's how we got Monroe.
But there were some challenges with that, right? You on sharing?
Yeah, I don't mind sharing a little bit. So her mom, her father was incarcerated, nothing serious, but in jail, and for a year. And her mom was essentially living homeless on her own, and we covered her room and board, I call it, leading up to the pregnancy. She was scheduled to do a C-section here at Sacred Heart on a certain day, and about a week before, she went back up to Ohio, where she was from, to see her family, and got arrested and was stuck in jail. So this really made this story interesting. So I'm like, whatever, here, I'll just pay her bail. And the attorneys, for whatever reason, to this day I don't understand, you're not allowed to. And so I think we may have slipped her mother some cash, and she drove up and used that to bail her out and got her back down here just in time for the C-section at Sacred Heart.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is pretty neat. The hospital was great to us. They allowed us to stay there as if Hillary had delivered. We were on different floors from the Brom, and it was great. We got to hold her and everything. And then the birth mom in Florida, it's 2 days. The birth mother can request to keep her, even though we'd paid all that money leading up. She can take her back 48 hours. And right after we got her, Hillary, did her hair and put a bow in it. And the mom sent the nurses up and says, hey, the birth mom wants to hold her baby again. And we're like, oh no. And Hillary goes, quick, mess up her hair. Get that bow out. Make it look ugly. And as it turns out, her birth mom is great. And we got to have a nice conversation with her, and it worked out. And she didn't even stay in the hospital 48 hours. She took off. And once she met us, she was like, this is where Monroe's supposed to be. So
awesome.
Yeah.
So, but then, well, I wouldn't, it's not an oops now, but all of a sudden your beautiful wife gets pregnant.
She's pregnant, a couple days later, and Crossley was born a year and a day after Monroe was born.
And y'all since adopted 2 more?
And then we decided, mainly because of the wine auction and CAC.
You said prenuptial agreement, we're exceeding the 3.
We exceeded the 3. But originally we went in just to be foster parents. So we got foster certified. But then we had Monroe's a newborn and Crossley's a newborn. So we basically had 2 Siamese twins, Irish twins.
Yeah.
We had Irish twins. And so we had gotten our foster certification during that time. While Hillary was pregnant with Crossley.
Who was the driver behind this? Is this a passion of both of yours?
It's definitely a passion of both of ours. I was more attracted to the foster part.
Okay.
And I think she is more attracted to the permanent adoption part. But both of us have a passion for it.
Got it. Just curious.
Yep. And so we got foster certified, but we also decided that we didn't want to take an 8-year-old or a 12-year-old into our house while we've got 2 newborns. And so, there's risk involved there and things that we didn't want to take that risk. So we decided we'd wait a couple years until they were older and then go back to the foster thing. Well, your foster certification only lasts 5 years. And so it was kind of about that time. Monroe was turning 5 and we started to explore it. Hillary's going through her iPad. There's actually a website in Florida where it's kind of like Match.com, but for kids that are in the system. And she came across Micah and Zion's name, and that's how that came about.
But you've permanently adopted them.
Permanently adopted them in December of 2022. So we've had them 3 years. Yeah.
Awesome. I think it's amazing. I don't know if I'm built for it. I always tell everybody we had 2, and that's why we stopped. I like my wife a lot and love my kids, but, bless y'all for doing it. I know it's amazing. Y'all are amazing parents. All right, so let's jump to COVID.
Mm-hmm.
How do we handle this over at Merrill Lynch at the time?
It was a challenge because working for a big company, unlike you who make the rules, right? Setco, Merrill makes the rules, or Bank of America makes the rules, and they did not allow anyone to go into the office because they didn't.
Even you?
I had to test every day. I was allowed to go in because I was the manager.
Okay.
And Lindsay was able to go in because she was the resident director's assistant. So the 2 of us were the only ones allowed in. We had to test every day. They sent us, a crate full of COVID tests.
Did you have to report back to them your test?
Yeah. You're supposed to report every day. And
so fucking asinine.
It's just
it's
bureaucracy.
Hey, dude, in retrospect, it's just so crazy to me.
And, they managed it to the lowest common denominator. So in New York or in California or Colorado, that was a state law. That's not the state law in Florida.
Yeah.
And so, but they had to scale it, and that's why. So we were allowed to go in, which I'm grateful for, but Tim wasn't. Jerry wasn't. And
which I don't get for you answer. You already answered my question. They managed to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see New York. Yeah. People are stacked on top of each other. I said, in retrospect, I still don't think that mattered. But the stock market's open, right?
Stock market's open.
Can Tim work from home?
Yeah. Everybody got set up. And of course, Zoom, none of us had done a Zoom before, and then we did everything on Zoom.
Yeah.
And so we just made do like you and like everybody else. We just figured it out.
Yeah.
And it worked fine. We all got home setups, and, I even bought a monitor and stuff at home because at the time, early, I didn't think I was going to be allowed to go in. And so I had a home setup as well, but I was very thankful. Hillary, after 3 or 4 days, she's like, look, you don't have to go back to your office, but you got to go somewhere. You got to get out of here.
See, I have a very similar story, sir. We were, I never thought about it from that perspective, just because I probably don't want to, and it's ridiculous. But, being in Florida, we were deemed necessary because we were financial.
Right.
Which technically you were too.
Yeah. In fact, I found my sheet the other day. I was going through a bunch of the old stuff.
Yeah.
From the move.
Well, and I actually did, and this is later on actually, but I got COVID for like the 3rd time because I was asymptomatic, but I actually had some symptoms. So I tested because I was having a big company thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to stay home and do it. I was there like 4 hours, and Steph's like, you got to go back to work.
Yeah, right.
Like, I wasn't there that long.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I see how retirement's going to go here.
No kidding. Yeah.
So when did y'all actually get to go back in the office?
That's a great question. I don't recall. It was a couple weeks.
Okay.
Before
Not
Lindsay
too
and I
long.
but it was like a year before the rest of the folks would come back.
How do they really manage that bullshit?
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Breaking the law. Well, you don't even work for them anymore. What do you care?
That's right.
Uh,
I certainly did not turn anybody in that stopped by to pick up a file.
yeah, I bet. Well, and that's also too for us, even though we were, open in the office, because I would have thought in our industry, you talk about Zoom, and there's some funny, great stories about Zoom calls and people with no pants on and shit going on in the background. Because a lot of people didn't use it.
Yeah.
We were pretty familiar with it internally in our company. We have a go-to meeting, same thing, just because we're spread out and we do calls that way because I see everybody. But there were a lot of people that weren't used to it.
Right.
The one thing I thought would come out of it and explode would be online notarization, because a lot of places you couldn't go in anywhere.
Yeah.
For us, we were doing these stupid drive-through closings, which I understand why we had to do them, because we do have some employees that were asymptomatic, and you do have people still buying stuff. I mean, the market's on fire,
Right.
and you have people buying stuff unseen. But if they show up, maybe they are from California and very conscious about what's going on. Like, you're going to get COVID from me, even though I'm 50 feet outside from you. So dumb. But the customer service part of it.
Right.
And we don't know how many people really come into your office anymore and pick stuff up. But at the same time, it was actually more efficient for us because we didn't have to sit at the table for an hour.
Right.
They signed in their car. But the customer service part of it was just horrible.
Horrible. Yeah. Not what you want to deliver.
No. Okay, so you guys come out of COVID, moving along. What did you decide that you might need to make a move?
There's just things that I'd mentioned to you, a couple of them already, but the culture just started to shift, and it was more Bank America than Merrill Lynch. In fact, I think in 2023 they dropped the Lynch, and you can see the writing on the wall. I would say within a couple of years, Merrill will be gone too. I hope they don't.
Yeah.
But it'll be Bank America Wealth Management. They already call it Bank America Securities on the research side. You don't see a Merrill Lynch person on TV anymore.
They get
it's
rid
a Bank
of the
America
bowl
person. So I got an award. It's called the David Brady Award, which was a fellow that passed away in 9/11. And it's kind of their Heisman every year. And you go up in Twin Towers and get this award. And when I got the trophy, or it's not a trophy, it's like a glass thing, it did not have the bull on it. It had Flagscape logo on it. And it said Bank America on it. And that didn't say Merrill Lynch on it anywhere.
Really?
And David Brady was a Merrill Lynch employee.
Okay.
And so, that was telling to me where the firm was going, not only from a branding standpoint, which was clear, but also a culture standpoint.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what made you pick where you went today?
We actually hired an investment banking firm to help us evaluate it. And at the time, we weren't sure that we were going to go anywhere. We just wanted to explore because we had seen the trends throughout the industry. Merrill was losing more people every year.
Well, let me ask you real quick. Do you think COVID had something, just to jump back real quick, do you think COVID had something to do with a culture change? Like why after, what did you say? Almost 15 years.
Yeah. So 8 to 22-ish.
Just money? Or was the more recent economic change part of it?
Maybe.
The stock market hasn't been horrible. It hasn't,
right. Yeah, I think it was just time and, it's boiling a frog type of deal.
Okay.
I think they were making minor changes and I just didn't feel the water getting warmer.
That's a great analogy.
But I think it was just time, and maybe COVID was a catalyst to say, hey, we got to get these brands more unified because, you look at, and I always compared this with folks, you look at Bonvoy and you've got, the Marriott brands, you got the Ritz brands, and you got, and they seem to do just fine keeping those brands separate under one umbrella. But for whatever reason. I don't
pay attention to Bonvoy, even though, I know that's the conglomerate.
Right.
I'm always staying here or here. But anyway, yeah.
So, and you have a different feel when you're at a Ritz than you do when you're at a Courtyard. No doubt. It's a different price point. It's a different service level. It's different sheets. It's different everything, right? So to me, that's the smart way to do it is, Bank of America is the owner, but they keep Merrill Lynch. That's the Ritz-Carlton. And then if you need a checking account or a safety deposit box, that's Bank of America. It's a different level of service. In fact, they call them customers. We call them clients. It's just a culture thing.
Yeah.
And so that started to mesh, and that water got warmer and warmer over the years. And maybe you're right. Now that you mention it, maybe COVID was a catalyst where they said we need to get these brands. But UBS did the same thing with PaineWebber.
Yeah.
My first business card said PaineWebber. My second business card said UBS/PaineWebber. My third business card had UBS, no /PaineWebber, and then they just got rid of the PaineWebber. And my guess is Lynch is gone. Merrill's fading, and it'll be Bank of America Wealth Management at some point.
But was it really, you said like your expense account got tricky.
Yeah.
They start ratcheting down on you guys?
Yes. And it's understandable, right? I mean, maybe the deal shouldn't have been in perpetuity, but it was, and in an email. So that's, and basically it just came down to, hey, we can no longer honor it. And I get it. And I told it, my boss is a great guy. I absolutely love him. He's a great family man. And I said, Joe, that's a business decision. And I get it. You got to make one.
What do you have, like, what your boss, even your world, because I look at you as almost an entrepreneur, or that's how I've always looked at you, and because of what you do, of your own business. You're a partner. Why do you have a boss at Merrill Lynch?
Yeah. So at Merrill Lynch, I was the manager of the local office, but I report to a manager of a region. We called it a complex. So his job was to oversee offices from Mobile, Fairhope, Pensacola, Fort Walton Beach, Destin, Panama City. He had that complex.
Okay.
So just a regional manager.
Okay.
Is who I reported to. And he reported to a divisional manager who ran the whole Southeast, and then that guy reported to the CEO.
So why do you have a layer of management?
Decision making, just like, why do you have a different military rank?
Yeah.
It's more like that.
But aren't you still pretty much in are you in control of your book of business?
Absolutely, as far as what the clients are investing in.
Okay.
Yeah, and making those types of decisions and running our practice. But can we do a Christmas party on December 12th? I wasn't in control of that.
That's crazy. Got it. Okay. So we started down this road. What are some of the opportunities with the new firm that, may have been removed or what have you? What is the decision part?
Yeah, the independence was a trend and still is a huge trend. The largest team at Merrill Lynch just left about 2 months ago in Atlanta. And
does these companies, does somebody wake up and say, we've got a problem? Or do they just not care?
I think they do. I think they are now. I really do.
You said their largest team ever is
in the whole
left?
Mm-hmm. And it was an incredible, like $90 billion under management and 180 people type of thing. It was a massive team.
Damn.
It's a,
okay.
They decided to go independent, but we were certainly not the first.
When you say go independent, what does that mean in your?
Not under a corporation like a Morgan Stanley or a Merrill Lynch.
Okay. So who do you use what trading house do you use?
Goldman Sachs is our custodian. And so their role is to keep the client's money safe. If there's a cyber threat, if I turn out to be a bad guy and, the client's money is safe with Goldman Sachs. Now, we interviewed Fidelity. We interviewed Charles Schwab. Raymond James is a big player in the custodial space. And then there's a few others like Pershing or LPL. But Goldman Sachs was the best fit for us for, maybe conversation number 2.
Got it. But so all those you just listed, they're considered custodians of independence, or do they have what I might call a direct too?
Raymond James has a direct model.
Okay.
And that office, my old office there in front of Kelly, that is a direct or a wirehouse type of model. But there's a lot of other Raymond James out, east of here that you see, and those are independent folks.
Got it. Okay. Cool.
So on the independent side, we also, you have to have, you can either hire an HR person and a compliance person and a technology person. So you can get a chief technology officer, you can get a chief, HR person, or what most people do is they have supported independence, where you hire one company in order to provide that back office support.
Yeah.
And that's what we did with New Edge.
Oh, the New Edge part.
New Edge provides our compliance oversight, makes sure that all of our licenses are current and are
they totally independent of Goldman Sachs?
100%.
Okay.
So they have a bunch of other folks like us, and one guy's with Fidelity and other teams with LPL, and it doesn't matter. You get to pick who you want to be your custodian.
So is that why I get the powered by New Edge. It makes a lot of sense now, but why do you feel like that needs to be in the name?
I think in the long run, it helps with their branding.
Okay.
Right? Because they're the number 3 now ranked independent firm in Barron's and close to it, maybe 7th in Forbes. So
but I thought you said they supported independent firms.
Right. So as far as how many people like us, they consider that assets under management.
Okay.
And they're growing tremendously fast, and they have more people on CNBC than Merrill Lynch now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So, but I thought they're providing the back office.
They do. They
have trade tools too.
They have trading tools. They have models that we can use if we want.
Okay. So it's more like IT support.
It's definitely more than IT support.
So I got like HR and IT support from that. I'm like, they do a lot more than that. Okay.
Oh yeah. I mean, they are essentially a broker dealer as well.
Okay.
But they are an RIA, which stands for Registered Investment Advisor, and so they provide. Our logo that we use now is the New Edge logo. So our branding, if there's an office in Nashville or an office in Baton Rouge, they have, similar branding. Now, they may call themselves Brannon.
Yeah. Good name.
Yeah.
Before I do want to talk to you about charity stuff before we wrap up, but one of the biggest challenges with this last move, you said your last 8 months have been challenging.
Yeah.
What is something that you did not anticipate?
It's just, it's 8 days a week in the office and the impact on my family. And Hillary and I sat down and talked about it ahead of time, because I was probably the last one to say, I'm in. And I'd have been just fine staying and retiring from Merrill Lynch. I mean, I still wear Merrill Lynch socks. I love Merrill Lynch, and we always joke we didn't leave Merrill Lynch. Merrill Lynch left us.
Well, that's the way you just laid it out. That sounds very true.
It is. I mean, I love the firm. I love the people there, and I had a tremendous 19 years as a Merrill Lynch employee, and will always hold that firm in high regard. But the impact on my family has been significant. And, Hillary, we got 5 kids under the age of 13, and just trying to shuttle them to practices and to school and homework and meals and all of that with basically an absent father. I was essentially on leave, right? Or deployed. Yeah. I was essentially deployed for the last 8 months.
Got it.
And, I'm sleeping at home, but otherwise I'm
well,
not
don't discount your coaching abilities. Now that I think, there's a lot to be said to that. Yeah. And I know, I do it too. And people, it's not for everybody, but your ability to go to work and bust your ass and then come home and coach, 15, 10-year-old little girls.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something to say that. And you're spending time with your kids.
That's right.
Girls or boys.
And so, I love that part of it.
I know you didn't give that up.
Right.
But y'all surviving, is it better? Are we still going through it?
Yeah, it's better. I think, the 1 year mark will be really good. But I'm seeing just seeing in the office, the overall morale and the demeanor of people is, there's smiles now instead of just, head shaking.
Your ass kicked every day?
Yeah, because, we bought the exact same coffee maker that we had at Merrill. But when we got there, the first 2 months, that was the only thing we knew how to use, right? And
we describe that. I know what that means, but because I thought you said it was changing, but you bought the exact same coffee maker.
Yeah. So the coffee maker we had at Merrill Lynch, we went to wherever.
Oh, you're being literal.
They went and bought it at, so,
okay.
So I would come into
moved all across the street. Yeah. Got it. Okay.
I walk into my new office and I knew how to make a cup of coffee because I had used that machine before.
Got it.
But when I open up my new laptop that New Edge got us, and I want to go buy ExxonMobil, no clue, right?
Okay.
I just don't know how to do. I knew how to do everything blindfolded, hands tied behind my back at Merrill. I could enter a trade, and look, it's not. You can figure out how to do it. Once you do it a couple of times, it's easy. But we hadn't done it a couple of times, and we hadn't done anything a couple of times there. So that was
New
the
Edge
real
not have
challenge.
support for that?
They do,
Yeah.
they do. But you're on the phone talking with clients. You're not on webinars learning how to transition a charitable fund or learning how to rebalance a portfolio. You just don't have time for it.
In that world, when you say you're out, are you like, you're out that day, that hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's
you're like, oh, Lane Kiffin, aren't you?
It is. It really is. Yeah.
They show your ass at the airport.
Yeah. And it stinks. It really does because of the relationships. I hate that part of it. But as soon as you hand in your letter of resignation, they take your keys and your computer, and you're not allowed to take any client information other than 5 data points, name, address, phone number, that type of stuff. You can take that. Other than that, if you take anything else, you violate your protocol is what it's called. Basically, non-compete.
Is that a non-compete?
Essentially, it's.
Can they hold you to those?
If you take anything more than what is spelled out in protocol, then absolutely, and you should be.
Yeah.
We knew the rules. We didn't violate the rules, and it's tough because we didn't tell clients ahead of time, and the clients are like, "Man, I met with you last week. Why didn't you tell me?" And that's hard.
But that's part of the rules.
That's part of the rules. You cannot pre-solicit. So when I was an employee of Merrill Lynch, I was not allowed to tell the clients that I'm thinking about it or leaving.
Have you been? Has it been well received?
It has, for the most part.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, nobody likes change, myself or you or the clients, right? And
I get that.
Just getting over, and I think they feel the open architecture that we have. We were able to buy shares of SpaceX for our clients 3 months ago, which could never do at Merrill. Anduril, we got shares of Anduril, which these are private companies.
Yeah.
And so we just have
Interesting.
Anthropic, all of the AI stuff that are private that are doing incredibly well. You couldn't do that at a Merrill, not because they didn't have they just couldn't scale it. There's too many Merrill people. And now at an independent shop, we can get little chunks of that. We can get $20 million of SpaceX for our clients. So you get 500,000, you get $1 million, you get 50,000. And that's what's really attractive.
Cool. That is pretty intriguing.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I just presumed you could, but shame on me. All right, let me shift gears because you and I have been doing charitable work together for a very long time. I guess probably started with Excel, which wasn't really charity, but kind of was with our time.
Yeah.
I tell people I woke up one morning, and I was, I think, putting in more hours at the Destin chamber as a board member in Excel than I was in my actual job.
That's right.
But you've been very passionate about the wine auction as well. You brought me into that. You're very passionate about wine. What drives you in the charity?
So my life purpose is to serve people, solve problems, and impact the community. And it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
But I think everybody should try to have a life purpose, why are you here type of thing. And that's the one I came up with a long time ago. And it allows me essentially to do all of those, all 3 of those. So I'm passionate about wine, but I really wasn't before I got involved with the wine auction. I was drinking Arbor Mist from Tom Thumb and thought that was the greatest thing ever.
Bullshit.
And then,
I guess I tell people I drank Mad Dog 2020. So,
and you know how the wine auction board meetings are. People are bringing in good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes showing off a little bit. And I remember having Scarecrow at one of the early meetings. I'm like, this is different.
Yeah.
I can tell a difference here.
Uh-huh.
And so, kind of got.
It's hard to go back to Arbor Mist, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Yeah.
Well, look, to that point, I appreciate you getting me involved because it's something that I've become passionate about. And I love what you said. I mean, Stephanie and I think it's very important to give back to the community that we live in.
Yeah.
And I make, you said 60% of your clientele, I mean, probably more than that is not here, but I make my living in this community.
Right.
And it's just as important for me to give back to the community. And there's so much need in our community.
Yeah.
So thank you for all you do. We will need to follow up and have, maybe a wine auction podcast or Destin Bourbon Society, whichever one, and maybe have some thought provoking conversations about what else we can do in our community.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you sharing today. I learned that, you, were a intern at a pro baseball team at where's it? Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Some lady broke her neck in a similar thing. This is all kinds of things. I've known this guy for like 20 years. So, but all jokes aside, Cory, amazing. Congratulations on the move. Thank you for coming here and doing this. And thank you for all you do in our community. I truly appreciate it. And it's been my pleasure to be your friend.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it. Thank you, Abby.
All right. Bye, y'all.